All right, guys, we are going to finish up this book. It took a little bit longer than I had intended, and I guess that's just what life is about sometimes. The key thing here for me, anyways, is that go ahead and finish this up. I think that I did this with, what was the other book I did? What was the other book I did? Science of Getting Rich. It took me a while to finish it. And it was really just a matter of sitting down to do it, finding the time, making the time to do it. So we're going to finish this up. We're on chapter 9 of Are You Ready to Succeed? Where's the book? There it is. I will also post the video of this to YouTube and put a link here as well so you can follow along with the mind map. And I'll save the mind map as well, and you can download the whole thing and take a look at it if you want, if that's something that you would like to do. So this is what I'm choosing to do on Father's Day, finish this up. It's important to me, and just kind of making that time. And it's like, if you don't finish these things, you've always kind of got this open tab in your mind, this open loop that never got closed, and that's just me finishing this up. I always enjoy getting something like this finished up as well. And this one's pretty important. This is a pretty important chapter that I feel like I'll share with you. And we'll work our way through it. So as we're looking here and we're working our way through it, we're on chapter 9 of Are You Ready to Succeed? Unconventional Strategies for Achieving Personal Mastery in Business and Life by Sri Kumar Rao. And I'm also taking his course with Creative and Personal Mastery, and taking the course in person with people. After having gone through this several times already, it's a whole different world as well. So chapter 9 is You Create Your World from What Is Inside of You. And the intro starts off with the whole idea that most of the models that you currently have in your life, they don't serve you well. Are they serving you? Sure, every model serves you, right? Every story that you're telling yourself and everything that already exists is serving you in one way or another, for better or worse. The idea is that you can't simply adopt a brand new model. You can't just say, yeah, well, that's my new model and I'm going to use it. The key of it is to find evidence of it at work. For example, right now we are in the class going through the section of creating our new realities, determining what we want that new reality to be, or that new model, and then looking for evidence of that model at play, in action, and writing down and capturing that and saying, hey, here's where I see the evidence of it, jotting it down. And it's when you do that you reinforce the idea. And that's really what he's talking about here. And then the whole idea is he's going to give us a general purpose model as we go forward here. And I'll also liken that to framework, right? Here's the framework of something. Here's the outline of something that you can use, the model. It's an outline, and you can kind of fill it in as you see fit in ways that work best for you. So what's inside of you? I'm pretty sure I've talked to this a couple times. I think I just did it recently, where I talk about the idea of Wayne Dyer talking about the oranges, and orange juice is the only thing that come out of an orange juice because that's all that's inside of it. Sri Kumar Rao uses this Rasagola, which is a traditional Indian sweet. It's a round and white, about the size of a ping pong ball, and inside of it is a sweet syrup. No matter how hard you squeeze it, that's all that's going to come out, because that's what's inside of it. The thing is that what's inside of us is currently, or most often, not not sweet and syrupy, and not just orange juice. We've got all these other things that are inside of us that he calls it's going to be guilt, depression, envy, worry, unhappiness, shame, sorrow, nervousness, jealousy, hate, fear, embarrassment, or frustration, because that's what our mental models have created within us. That's that mental chatter that when we started this process, that's what we kind of that's what we developed. And it reminds me of the stories that people call Inuit story or other stories, and the idea of you've got two dogs that are always fighting each other, right? And the two dogs are always getting bet on by a ring of people at a dog fight, and the person who's leading that, right? In the story, like, it's a grandfather Indian who's doing this, and he always bets on the right dog. He never loses. And so one day his grandson asks him, he goes, well, how do you know which one of the dogs is going to win? And he goes, well, it's easy. It's the dog that I fed all week, right? So whichever, and this is like, whatever you give your attention to is what grows. So whatever you tie up in your mind and your mental chatter, that's what grows. Whatever model you give the most attention to, that's going to be the one that quote unquote wins. Whether or not that's the quote unquote winning model for you, it's still going to be the model that gets the most energy. It's still going to be the model that takes precedence in your life. So that idea of what's inside of you, you can cultivate that. He says here that transformation begins and ends with mental models, right? You keep the ones that build and nourish you, like I'm talking about here with the idea of you feed the dog that you want to win, and then you remove the mental models that are filled with poison and contempt. What's an example of this? I'm trying to think of it earlier. Even myself in this past week, I was like, how could you do, I forget what it was I'd done. I was like, that was stupid, or, and I caught myself like talking down to myself or saying something about myself, or sometimes getting caught in worry that doesn't make any sense to get caught in, because the future is never kind of certain, right? And why waste your time focused on these worrisome moments that may never happen, or most likely never happen, and waste your energy there. Where else could you be using that thought energy, that powerful creativeness of yours, right? Because you're using your creative energies to create something that's just awful and shitty, and you could use that same energy to create something really awesome and beautiful, right? Or amazing, or at least beneficial to you. So leverage a model, a mental model that is beneficial to you, because regardless of whether or not you are regardless of you creating something, you may as well create something that is useful for you. So he recommends this benevolent universe model, and this is one that I know that ever since I first have seen it, is something that I've been able to implement in my life, and it has been wonderful. Wonderful, serves me wonderfully. I'm going to read a bit about it from the book here. It says, the universe is a conscious and benevolent entity. It always acts in your best interest and always brings into your life exactly what you need at any instant. And if the idea is to just really look for those instances, and I can look at when I got let go of from Cisco, when they eliminated the job, right? They didn't let go of you, they've eliminated the job. And then went into real estate for a couple months, and then as the pandemic was coming into full swing, somebody reached out to me to see if I was interested in another job, and I said, sure, yeah, absolutely interested in it, and think it'd be a great fit, perfect almost for me, exactly where I believe I need to be right now. It was like almost a perfect role for me, as who I am and where I am at this point in my life. And then right the week that and here's the deal too, like, I mean, kids are home from school, pandemic's going on, and this was a job working from home, great benefits, all the things. And then they stopped hiring that week that I was hired, right? So this, like, again, the idea that it always acts in your best interest, always brings into your life exactly what you need at any instant, right when you need it. That was, that was how I saw it. You don't have to see that's, and here's the thing: you have the opportunity to see this as you like. You don't have to see it. The thing is, if you're going to step into this model, you have to start looking for the evidence of it in action for you, so that you can support the model that you would like to implement. And there's been countless and several other times that I have seen this at play in my life since picking up on this model. That wasn't the only time. There's definitely several other times, but I just wanted to use that as the example, because even though the real estate people killed it this past year in real estate, and they're still doing really well, I don't know what would have happened if I would have had to have stayed in real estate. Would I have gotten sick? Would I have gotten somebody at the house sick? Would something else have happened? And there would have been a lot of worry and frustration at home in the family life if I'd stayed in that. So the universe provided this other option that was perfect for me and my family at that point in time. And once you start seeing stuff like that, it's really kind of hard to stop back or turn back. So the idea too is that it inspires that if you're able to do this, if you're able to begin to pull this type of model into your own life, it inspires the whole idea of heaven on earth, right? Because now, like, you've got the universe actually working for you and your own benefit, and it becomes again like heaven on earth. And the idea too is where's the, I'm trying to think, is this real? No more so than any other model, right? But the thing is that all the other models are just as false as this one. So again, what if it's really true though? What if it does work out this way? And then what does that mean for your life then? And I've been able to again implement these into a point where I believe it and I see it. So he also mentions here that all the exercises within this book have basically led up to this convergence point, giving you the exercises to test out, to be able to see the universe is working on your behalf. And now it's like, okay, now you just come out and say it, right? This is, and you can look back if you've done any of the exercises in this book, if you've taken any of its courses and you've done any of it, even to the lightest varying degree, then you'll be able to say, oh shit, the universe really was working on my behalf, and now there's something amazing going on for me. So he's going to hit back again on the idea that beliefs cannot be forced. So you simply cannot force yourself to accept the proposed model. You may recognize it intellectually and that it's a good idea, but you can't just automatically accept it. You can't believe it all at once. And I liken this to the idea of who's the guy who wrote the book Flows? Csikszentmihalyi Mahalik. Look for small things that you can believe. Then instead of trying to take it all in at once, if it's too much at one time to say yes, it's a benevolent universe and blah, you're like, fuck that. The thing is, then take something small that you can work with, and then start looking for how that is beginning to show small pieces of benevolence from the universe towards you. So whatever you believe now, small pieces, and then just each time something a little bit beyond that initial point. So small increments outside of the known at the time, and then over time, it will become massive. Over time, it will become this piece of the universe that is with you, and it's going to become very difficult and challenging to refute at a certain point in time. Just like any of your existing models. Like, you've got models right now, you're like, they are totally true, this is always happening, and this is how it is, blah, blah, blah. So, if you can, however, begin to accept this model for yourself and begin to implement, it, you will, you'll start to see benefits almost immediately. Again, I'll go to the current exercises that we're working on, where we create, we have a current reality where we're like, this, that, or the other thing is not ideal in my life and where I'd like it to be. And then you reshape that to say, this reality is totally serving me, and here's how it's serving me. And then you start looking for evidence that it is serving you. And that's what he talks about here in the exercise of building up the benevolent universe. Is real similar. It says, look through your history for areas that may have seemed awful, but eventually led you to a better place, right? Again, look, the pandemic. I think the pandemic has led a lot of people to do some inner work that they hadn't been willing to face. And now there's this mental resilience that I think is happening all over the world that is playing a big part in who we are. I think it's also hit corporate pretty hard, so that now corporations are really seeing people as they should have all the time, and are really doing what they can to improve the mental stability of their workers. And I think that a big portion of that is genuine right now, versus a lot of it in prior had been lip service, and now I think it seems like it's more meaningful. So you look through your history of where some things seem bad, and then you also look for areas where a hidden hand played a role in getting you to a better place. I'll use the example, I think I was in 4th grade in California, Northern California. It was the mid-'80s, and we were moving again, and I was pretty upset that we were moving. However, I think a week or two after we moved, like, there was a ginormous flood from the Russian River, literally wiped out the neighborhood where we'd lived. So within weeks of us leaving, where we'd lived had been wiped out. Who knows what would have happened, right? It could have been completely hideous and awful, but there's an area where a hidden hand played a role in basically kind of saving our lives. So you've got something maybe not so drastic and dire that's happening in your life every day. So you want to look for ways of maybe something impacted your day and it seemed kind of shitty for a moment, but you're like, what good can come out of this? What did I learn from this? Where's the benefit to me in this, or my family, or my job, or anything like that? And you write that down, and you look for a way that the universe is being benevolent for you, like at least once a day. So, and then you write it down, handwrite it down. I can't stress that enough. I really believe that makes all the difference in the world by handwriting it versus anything else. So there's also going to come a point to where you feel like you're slipping back. You may feel like you're slipping back into your old models, but this is where you double down. You've put all this effort in, and you don't want to risk losing the ground that you've gained. So, and that can easily happen because we've had our default models for most of our lives, right? It's really, really, really easy to fall back into that pattern. I used to be a smoker. I used to smoke. And whenever you quit smoking, maybe you're smoking like 1 to 2 packs a day. The idea is that when you go back to it, you don't go back to 1 to 2 pack, or you don't go back to a couple cigarettes a day. You go back to where you left off. Same thing is applicable here. You're going to go back to whatever dirty, nasty habits you had before, in your way of thinking versus this new way that is much more beneficial to you and your life. So he also, this is, when you get to the, so I feel, when you get to the end of the book, and you've been doing all those exercises, it's just like I'm saying here, you kind of start slipping back into your old miles. You're like, oh shit, this is so much work and so much effort. Most of the times I've gotten through this book, I don't always make it a point to go read these good stories, right, about Special Olympic winners, the Shaka Fellows, who I just read about. This was the first time in 4 years that I went and looked this guy up and read about, kind of what he's brought into the world. And then there's, go and there are these incredibly inspiring stories that you can go read and see what's possible for just about anybody, given any conditions. And conditions for some of these people can be absolutely horrendous, but it's overcoming those conditions that is what makes those stories awesome. And then there's business people who snap back from bankruptcy. So that's one that I did look up and go through. And let me see if I say it. Yeah, like people like Milton Hershey, right? Hershey's Candy. This guy, he faced bankruptcy. George Foreman, he was bankrupt, and now he's got an estimated wealth of over $250 million. Who's another couple people I thought that were interesting? Henry frickin' Ford, bankrupted himself in 1903. He tried and failed again, kept on going until his dream becoming a reality. With today's net worth estimated at, is that like, I don't know, 188 billion, right? 188 billion today. Walt Disney is another one who was bankrupt, and Abraham Lincoln. So, you go through and you're like, you're worried about, these failures. If you're ever worried about like becoming bankrupt or anything like that, think about some of these people and what happened after their bankruptcy, who they became, even though that at one point they were bankrupt, and start to apply this benevolent model universe to yourself. So coping with senseless tragedies is another piece that he's gotten here, as we talk about like these benevolent models and we talk about everything else going on. There are certain things that are going to happen in our lives where like, loss of a child, loss of a loved one that's super close to you. God, I was talking to a gentleman the other day. He was very upbeat, very kind, doing his daily job, and he was in Florida with his child who was a twin, and his bones were all jacked up from the I don't know what you call it, the sac, the prenatal sac that they're born in, and it had opened up in 12 weeks. And so when he came out of the womb, he was twisted up like a pretzel. The doctors have had to work on his bones his entire life. Kid's only 9 years old, going through all of this stuff, getting his legs broken, ligaments like cut and spliced in so that he can walk, feet reset, all these things. And this is a 9-year-old kid and a dad going through it. And I was like, holy shit, man. The idea that you're even upbeat and going through all these things and you still have this good sense of being was really impressive to me. But this is a type of thing that's kind of like a senseless tragedy. It doesn't make any sense. Why would this happen to anybody in this benevolent universe, right? The thing that Sri Kumar Rao is saying here is that you've got to do all the work that came before in this book before you can start to cope with these senseless tragedies. And the idea is that the universe is intervening in your life, that it is steering you around the pitfalls and bringing you what you need bringing you the help that you need when you feel overwhelmed, leading you to bounty in different guises and always looking after you in a myriad of ways. You have to feel this way at a very deep level before you can use the strategy of, he's saying, take a look at the idea of a forest fire, right? When the forest fire happens, it's just like, it burns everything out of its way, but it's also necessary for the forest to go through that. he talks about the idea of leveraging, maybe some of these things that are paining you or suffering you to take, maybe you've got to take some measure to lessen it. You can do it consciously. Maybe you can, I don't know, bring awareness to it, right? You see that often. There's another gentleman I saw that almost died last year of a blood clot in his leg, and now he's helping to bring awareness to it, right? He's he's got a role in his life where he's able to take this thing that's happened to him and apply it and bring awareness to blood clots by leveraging again his status in the world and share out with some people in some ways to prevent it and what you can do if it does happen. Again, here's the idea too, right? He says, it's wonderful and liberating to live in this world where the universe behaves as if it were specifically designed for you and acts to give you exactly what you need. A world where you can accept that what you want is not always what you need. That a child, this is good too, that a child may want a tub of ice cream, but a wise parent provides fresh fruit and vegetables. He says, are you kidding that the universe looks like this? Yes, you absolutely are. But you're also kidding yourself if you think that the universe is the way that it is now. So you have to make this choice, right? That do you want to dwell in a peaceful abode with a sense of fulfillment and purpose, or do you want to wander around the corridors of a house of horrors where ghastly apparitions appear without notice? It's your choice and only your choice, and it's a far better choice to live in the bosom of a benevolent universe. So that kind of closes it up, right? It is your choice to live in this benevolent universe. It's your choice to go ahead and build out this model. It's your choice to support this model. Just the way it's your conscious choice to build out any model, because that's exactly what you're doing. Anytime that you're beating yourself up, you're supporting that other dog that we talked about, the dog that always wins. So I hope that you've enjoyed Are You Ready to Succeed? A little bit of a deeper dive into it. And I hope that it's inspired you to either pick up this book or try some of the exercises yourself, or, do some of the work yourself to just, dive into it. In the back of this book, too, Sri Kumar Rao has some reading lists. I'll see if I can go ahead and direct you to it, or post a couple of it. Not only does it give you the reading lists gives you a 1 year reading list, which is pretty cool, but then he has this other supplementary reading list where he will give you the levels of the book. He puts it under different headers, business and management. What's another header here? I don't know. Anyways, like plenty of other books. Here's one, Mind Over Matter. One of the first ones here. I'm just going to give you an example. Mind Over Matter is a type of book. Wayne Dyer. Manifest Your Destiny. Popular speaker, author Wayne Dyer has other books you may wish to explore. This book is good manual on how you can, and he gives you a little synopsis. Good manual on how you can use mental forces to create a physical reality. It contains good tips on how to harness the power of the subconscious mind, and the whole has explicitly spiritual underpinnings, which is quite common in this genre. Reading level number 1, right? So check out this book if that's something that you're interested in. If you're interested in trying to get yourself into a mental model that just says, hey, the way my life has been going, not the model I want to use. And really appreciate Brandon, you sharing Sri Kumar Rao's models. It sounds like something I could be interested in using and applying in my own life. Anyways, take care, guys. That's going to I'm done. I'm done. Like I said, I'll share out this mind map, so you can kind of see the map here of how I kind of wrote it out, and you can pick up the book yourself, try it out yourself. If the book resonates with you, I highly suggest checking out the course, the live course, if you can. It's called Creative and Personal Mastery. I'll share a link with that in the notes as well. Until then, we'll decide what our next little adventure may be. Take care, all.